What is up, you guys? I'm the Sports Stuff, and in today's video, we're going to be upgrading my RC crawler track so that then we can challenge my SCX-24 Gladiator. So, let's get into it. Here we go. So, right now, our RC crawler course is pretty basic. A small rock scramble, little mountain, and a tree to climb over. So what we're going to do first is we're going to clean up the area, get rid of the rocks, and get rid of the tree. There's a lot of pine needles that need to be cleaned up, so we're going to do that as well. And we're going to cut some tree branches to make the area a little bit more open. And just overall prep the area to get ready for the big stuff. So let's do it. Here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of these rocks. Later in the video, I'm going to make a bigger and better rock scramble. And the biggest issue cleaning up this area was all the pine needles. So we're going to clean up all of that, and then we're going to cut down some branches just to make the place a little bit more open. It's really going to make it look that much better. And I did decide to move this mountain obstacle. It was just in the way and needed to be moved. We finally got it cleaned up for the course. It took way longer than I expected because of all the pine needles and all the tree branches. Now we're gonna start making a plan of what the trail is gonna look like and some of the obstacles that we're gonna put in there. So let's get to it, here we go. For the RC crawler course, I wanna start and I wanna go more this way because this is where the entrance is. And so I'm just trying to figure that out. I think the first thing we're gonna start with is a branch crawl. So I'm gonna have a bunch of branches like right here and the RC crawler is gonna crawl over it. So I think we're gonna start there first. Let's get some dirt here. Just gonna throw it right there. That area underneath a little bit. Biggest problem with this area is that it's very, very flat, and that's my biggest worry about this whole thing. Flatten out the edges there. There we go. Gotta get some branches now. There we go. All right, let's place a couple here. Now we're gonna add some branches down right here. This is a pretty sweet start to the course, and I'm looking forward to the whole outcome of this RC track. All right, so that's the start for our course. Nice little branch crawl. Feeling pretty good about it. There's a lot more to add to it, so let's keep going. Here we go. All right, I need to find a tire. I see one right out here. Let's get it. The next thing I'm adding to the course is a small tire poking out of the ground. This will provide some uphill and some downhill. So let's get into the build. Here we go. So right now we're making a little hole where the tire is going to be poking a little bit out of the ground. This is important because without it, the tire would be too tall and it would be too difficult for the RC crawler to get over. And this obstacle is going to be so cool. Alright, now that that feature's built, I think it's going to work very, very well. It's going to be interesting to see if the RC crawler can actually get over that hill at the end. Now, I think our next feature is going to be the rock crawl, and we're going to see if we can make it better than the last one. So, let's do it. Here we go. This rock crawl is going to be so much better than the last one. This feature is going to have a little bit more rocks just to add a little bit more terrain to it. It'll be interesting to see how much of a challenge it gives the RC crawler at the end. This rock feature looks so cool. I'm so impressed with it. It turned out so good. Let's head on to the next feature. Let's do it. Here we go. On this feature, we're going to have a couple logs sticking out of the ground. So let's make the feature. Here we go. Alright, now that that obstacle is done, we're going to move on to our next one. I had a pretty good idea with this one with like a nice slab of rock, and I kind of want to make it more of an uphill so that then it's a little bit slippery. I'll show you what I mean when I'm building it, but let's go find a rock that'll be able to do that. Here we go. Alright, we acquired the goods. We got the rocks we need. Let's get back to the course. Let's do it. Here we go. Alright, so I just got a couple rocks. One of them is a cinder block. Guys, what we're going to do, we're going to prop up this giant piece of cement. We're going to prop it up so it's a little bit slippery and a little bit more difficult for the crawler. So let's get into that. Let's do it. Here we go. Let's go. This obstacle is definitely going to add a little bit more of a challenge. Because of the steepness effect to it, there's going to be less traction, making it a little bit more difficult for the RC crawler. So let's hope it goes well, and let's keep building it. Alright, now that that one's done, I'm going to add another obstacle that is going to be testing a lot of suspension. I'm going to have two walls with an inside, and then I have a bunch of branches slanted down on the walls that then the crawler can roll over them. So we're going to give that a test and see how good it is. Let's do it. Here we go. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do with this corner area here, I'm going to make a small canyon section just to add another obstacle in there. So let's build it. Shouldn't take too long. Let's do it. Here we go. This obstacle is going to help test the turning radius on the RC crawler. Adding more terrain to this track is just going to make it 100 times better than the last one. So let's just keep building it and see how it goes. Here we go. I'm also going to add bigger rocks to this one rather than last time because it was just too easy for the crawler last time. So this is going to add a little bit more of a challenge and just make the course ultimately better. Alright, there we go. I'm really impressed with how that obstacle turned out. I think this one, just like any other ones, is going to really help challenge my SCX 24 Gladiator. And make sure to stay tuned for them because I do plan on testing them all with that crawler. But for my next one, I did have a good idea. I was thinking about adding a small little sand pit just to add a little bit less traction so that then we can test the tires. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple rollers there. And we're just going to see how it goes. Let's do it. Here we go. Alright, so right here, we're going to dig up some of the soil just so that then we can put some of the sand in there. Hopefully, when all it dries up, it'll be a little bit more difficult for the RC crawler to get traction because it's just going to be really gritty and sandy. But I don't know. We'll have to see that when it comes. Alright, so for our next obstacle, I came across a couple of logs sitting on the ground. And I was thinking, what if we had them laying next to each other, 4 of them together, with 2 in the middle propped up? Something almost like this, and the 2 middle ones propped up so it's more or less like a bridge. Alright, now that obstacle is done with the logs, I had an idea. I plan on skipping some area for now. I think I'm going to come back to it and then add another obstacle. I want to make a giant mountain out of some tires, and so I was thinking the only way to get there to the area that I want is I need a bridge. So I decided I made this out of some wood, out of some treated wood, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to build up to it and make like a little bridge so then I can go under it and then go to the giant mountain that I plan on making. So let's get to building that, and it should be pretty simple. This one's pretty easy. I already drilled holes and already got some screws in there. So yeah, we're just gonna do that, and yeah, I think we're almost done, which is pretty sweet. Let's do it. What I'm gonna do here is add some soil to make a ramp to get up onto the bridge. This was very difficult because the gravel and soil just did not want to stay in one place, so I had to put some logs there just to keep it from not moving. But all in all, this is probably one of the more difficult obstacles to make. Alright, that bridge turned out pretty good. It was pretty difficult trying to get the ramps to work. A lot of the gravel just wasn't sticking and it was just really difficult. So that took a lot of time, but other than that, it worked out pretty good. And I'm looking forward to using it. Now, we're going to build the big obstacle, which is the giant mountain. This one's going to be the most work and it's going to be absolutely crazy. So let's get into it. Here we go. Alright, so I just got a bunch of materials for this. What I plan on doing is keeping the tire on the ground first, and adding that bucket on top so that then I don't have to put as much gravel in the middle. Then I'm going to fill the outside around with gravel, and then I'm just going to kind of shape it so it looks like a mountain, but then we can climb up it. So it'll be interesting, but we're just going to play it by day and see what happens. So let's do it. Here we go. So for this obstacle, I was thinking about making a track that went all the way around the circle and then just filling in dirt around it as we went. This one, I have no doubt, was the hardest obstacle to make because I just could not figure out the structure of how the mountain was going to look. But it actually did turn out pretty well, so make sure to look for that, and let's keep on building. Alright, I just got another wheelbarrow full of gravel. I decided before then I was going to dump the rest of it onto the tire. I think I'm going to try and make it a little bit wider with the rest of the gravel that I have, and then just kind of keep building it up. I'm trying to make a trail around it so it looks a little bit cooler, but let's keep building it. Here we go. Alright, we finished that mountain. I'll tell you what, it was a lot of work. But it's going to pay off when we get to use it with the Axial SCX24 Gladiator. And to be honest, it turned out way better than I thought it was. So I'm really surprised with that, but I'm just looking so forward to trying this out. I'll put one more obstacle in, and I've been thinking about it for a little bit, and I just don't know how to do it, but I want to try to make a teeter-totter, so we're going to work on that and try to figure it out. Here we go. All right, so the next and final obstacle is a teeter-totter. I just kind of made it out of a PVC pipe and then with a 2x4. So we're going to have to dig a little bit into the ground to put it in, and then, yeah, we're just going to kind of wing it and see what happens. Let's do it. Here we go. For this obstacle, I'm building a little hole so that then it'll stay in one spot and rock back and forth. And just like that, the course is complete. Like, we finished everything. All the obstacles are done. Now, all we have to do is test it with our Axial SCX 24 Gladiator. So, let's do it. Here we go. Alright, it is the next day. It got a little colder out last night because we had a giant storm come through. And when I mean it was a pretty big storm, we had a couple tornadoes. Thankfully, nothing hit our area. But today is finally time. So, let's get into it. Here we go. After that testing with my Axial SCX24, I am truly amazed by how awesome this course turned out, considering the fact that it was completely homemade and I did it all by myself. With all these obstacles combined together to make an all-terrain look, it really truly shows the full capacity that this RC crawler can handle. I'm looking forward to continue upgrading this course. I plan on putting more obstacles in because there's still plenty of room in here. So make sure to stay tuned for those videos if I plan on making them. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please help support me by liking and subscribing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in my next video. So, the sports stuff out.